Welcome to our first episode of Guests After Dark.
I think you should say it like Guests After Dark or something like that.
That's you, Jade.
That's you, Jade. And also,
no, that's you, Kaylin. I can see you in the video. You look like you're ready to go.
She does. If you guys have got our YouTube channel, be sure to check out our YouTube channel because now you can see that it's actually not really dark when we're recording this. It's going.
What are you talking about? It's dark in my room, okay?
We gave ourselves away.
Well, we're hoping this Guest After Dark episode doesn't turn into a roast of Cassandra because today we have my BFF here. And I have a feeling it's going to go dark and dirty really quick.
So we like it.
Amanda, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So Amanda, talk to us about you. Who are you? How do you know Cass? How are you guys friends? How did you become friends? Why are you guys besties? Give us the 411.
Yeah.
So Cassandra, my relationship of meeting each other is always a fun topic that comes up where we get asked of, how did you guys meet? Well, it's hard to explain. So we went to the same school. We both went to school together, and we actually met on a competition trip, a DECA competition trip. She happened to be competing next to me, unrelated, but we kind of were acquaintances.
What's DECA?
DECA is
am I dumb?
my geeky. It's the best way to describe DECA.
It's Greek life for dorks.
Okay. For dorks, you get to do different leadership and queen, king dork here. I was president of my college chapter. So
I was not. I barely made it through, but that's a story for a different time.
Seems on brand for you, Cass.
I got scholarships for it because I go all in. When I do something, I go all in.
See, I was there because they offered you scholarship money. Like, I'll just be really honest. They're like, you could get an extra $1,000, and like, crappy apartment Cass was like, hell yeah, an extra $1,000. Like, this could pay for food.
It helped me pay off my school. It helped me pay it off a lot faster. But you get different topics, sports, marketing, all these different kinds of competitions and conversations, and you're given a topic, and you have to present like it's a real world thing. So you have nothing to go with. You kind of draw diagrams of, this is what the spreadsheet says, even though it has nothing to do with it. Whatever I'm coming up with is supporting what I'm saying. If only the real world could work like that, would be amazing.
Yeah, that did not prepare me for real life. That did not prepare me for real life entrepreneurship, you guys. Like, I was in the entrepreneur category, and yeah, you don't just out and have a multi-million-dollar business. FYI, in case anyone was curious.
You can pull things out of your ass so easily. This
I was trained
for that. Yes,
this is my ass pulling training.
So this is not a plug for DECA. This podcast is not a plug for DECA. I take it. Got it. Okay, moving on.
Great experience. But so that's how we met originally. But like, I wouldn't be able to tell you that we actually hung out anytime during college or anything like that. Enter in Facebook. I think I randomly saw her posting about something on Facebook, and I messaged her, and like we just started chatting. And
okay, wait, back up. So you met each other, but you didn't hang out. I'm inserting air quotes. So why? What was Cass? What were Cass's vibes, Amanda? Inquiring minds want to know.
So I just think we hung out in different circles would be probably the best thing. I lived at school. I was a tour guide. I did DECA, and I was like the president of the state chapter. I was all into school. I'm a big nerd, and I like to go all in for everything that I do.
And I was not.
You don't say.
Our circles didn't really connect. Like, when all the groups of kids went down, we all hung out. We would go partying and doing different things. But once it's there, it's like, okay, you go scatter back and do your own kind of things.
So what Amanda was saying is, while she was giving tours of the school, I was bartending and drinking underage. So let's just cut and dry, say what it was.
Don't get me wrong, I was drinking underage too. but I wasn't bartending and doing all this. I was making friends with all the different people to give me discounts for hotels and all these different kinds of things, wheeling and dealing.
So very
Cass's
different college
extracurriculars did not correspond with your extracurriculars.
Not at
That's
all.
the best
No.
way to say it.
Not
Not
at all.
at all. I'm a goody two shoe people pleaser. That's my who
And
I
to be
am.
clear, I was in amongst kind of my own circle and my own sorting of bullshit. And I was also, I think, let's see, I was already probably engaged, if not once, but twice.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So I was
And-
already like, because I got married right out of college. So I was in that phase too, with like, there was just a lot of stuff going on. So I didn't actually have a lot of close friends. So I was like, I have to make money. I have to do this. I have to live on my own. And by the way, I'm going to marry this cop that I'm dating. Like that was very much like that was
No time for friendship.
no, absolutely not. So unless you can pay me.
I was all about the networking. How are you going to help me in my future life? Like, this is what I'm told I'm supposed to do. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do well in school. I'm going to try to make great connections to be able to help me better myself for outside of school. Fast forward, I did nothing related to what I went to school for. I went to school for advertising. Fun fact, I worked on a campaign, a presidential campaign and the congressional campaign, like all things that had nothing to do with advertising, nothing that I went to school for. But when I graduated, guess what? That was right when the time of the market crashing. Hooray! Get a job, go get a job. For where, to what? So we just started, I want to say 2009, 2010. I couldn't even tell you when. The joke that we like to make is when she first met my now husband, we said, if it doesn't work out between him and her, it's not going to work out because I've known her longer. But it was just weird where he was like, well, how did you guys meet? I'm like, well, technically college, but we didn't really hang out. We just started kind of talking one day. And that's the best way to describe it, because I couldn't tell you what made me connect to her. And I think that's a very true thing for a lot of people who come into connection with Cassandra. There's just something. You can't really hit the nail on it. There's something that brings you to you. Their universe is essentially saying, hey, you need to talk to this girl at this time.
Jade, is there
full
something in
body
my
chills? Like I just literally got full body chills. That resonates with me.
now I'm like,
So-
Jade, is there something in my chart that says that? No, I feel like a lot of my friendships are like that too, where like we know the origin point of where we were connected, but like I don't remember who reached out to who, what was our first activity together. Like I don't know any of that for a lot of people in my life. I feel like they just materialize when they're supposed to be there.
If I was around, I could probably tell you, but if it was before
It's
Kaylin,
true.
there's no records. Those
BK.
doesn't exist.
Yes.
BK, before Kaylin.
I mean, we
BK.
were talking about something
AK.
today and I was like, I don't even
Jade
remember.
was AK, and so we have record of how that started.
But it's funny, like we really we go through this a lot where people are like, well, how did you guys meet? But she's essentially my sister. Like our relationship is so close that if you told me my life without Cass, I wouldn't really understand it. Like we can go through points where we talk and then we don't talk for a period of time and we just pick up from where we were, kind of catching up on what has happened, but it's not like we skip a beat. We've always lived apart from each other. The joke for the longest time was each of us tried to convince the other to move to where we were. She wanted me to move to the south. I don't like the heat. I usually melt. Long sleeves, not pending with this. There's just something going on with me today. But we've always joked. So now she's about 4.5 hours from me, which is amazing. It's the closest that she's ever been since we both went to college together. Because when she was up here, I went back to New Jersey. When I came back up here, she went down to Virginia. So we like to cross paths,
You
but
did
never
come
be the
to
same
Vir-
place.
You did come visit me in Virginia. Should we talk about should we talk about how you can't drive in Virginia, how you're legally not allowed?
Yeah.
I think I'm legally allowed to. I don't think it actually came up because we had your husband check at the time to make sure.
Statute of limitations probably has passed. So if anyone from Virginia Court of Law is listening to this, sorry.
And also, I paid my
Been
fucking
too
ticket.
long.
I paid my ticket. Go the fuck off. And I wasn't driving the fastest. So I got a speeding ticket. If anyone knows me, I have a very heavy foot.
Very
I'm
heavy.
from Jersey. We like to drive fast. Speed limit's just a suggestion. But
It's
I
the
was
Jersey
driving
girl in you.
the Jersey girl in me. You can't get it out of me.
You can't.
As much as my husband's tried, he likes to say we met online and he likes to say that he got me cheap because I'm from Jersey. Yep. It's Jug of you.
Love it.
It's like a mail order bride system.
Oh my God.
Thanks, eHarmony.
Anyway, I moved down to Virginia and I invited her down and literally she was like, I don't think I can drive in that state. And I'm like, who's barred from a state? Like, what did you have to do?
So I was supposedly going, I got reckless driving. This was like when I was right before I think my freshman year. I was coming back from North Carolina, actually, I think. And I was not the fastest driver. I don't think my parents knew that I was in North Carolina. So let's hope that they don't listen to this or whatever.
It's been like 20 years. It's fine.
You are an adult. I don't think it matters.
Welcome to my family.
That'll be the next topic we go to.
Oh shit.
Reckless driving, but I had LSA plates. Other people were driving faster than me, and I had a Mazda 626, which if I went above 80 miles an hour, the wheels started to shake. So I was not going that fast that they were saying, but I was the out-of-state person, so they pulled me over. And they always say, if you dress cute, you cry, it'll get you on a ticket. Doesn't fucking work in Virginia, because I looked cute that day. I was bawling because I didn't have to explain to my parents that I got a ticket because I'm on their insurance. Like, what? So I got a ticket, ended up they wanted me to appear in court. I was in school in Rhode Island, so I just paid the ticket. I was like, just take my money, like, let's just make this go away. And they essentially said that my license was revoked in Virginia, which I don't know how you can revoke a Jersey license in Virginia. But when I was coming down, I was like, hey, Cass, can you have your husband check to see if it is truly revoked or if this was just bullshit that they were telling me? I think it was bullshit that they were telling me.
What I'd like to point out in this fact is we just went through Amanda's extracurricular activities and what a goody two shoes she is.
Correct.
And then we went through the fact reckless driving. So it makes me love her polarity even more.
I have many sides.
And also, as a grown ass woman, is still worried about what her parents would say that she in college was in a state she wasn't supposed to be in. Like,
meet people pleaser. I'm working on that. Come a long way.
So what's funny is actually I was having this conversation today because I needed my college transcript. And I'm like, yeah, it was like 10 years ago. It wasn't 10 years ago.
It was not 10 years ago, Cass.
In 2016, it was 10 years ago. So I was like, oh, maybe it wasn't 10 years ago. Oops.
No.
So just funny fact about that. I was like, oh, I'm
almost 20 years ago since I graduated from high school, which scares me.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
So what is it about Amanda that you're drawn to, Cass? How she was describing. I love that feeling you get with friends when you can not talk for a year or months and then you just pick up where you left off. So what is it? That's hard to find though in people.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it about Amanda that gives that to you?
So I feel like there's certain things like you, Jade, you always make fun of Kaylin and I for like communicating telepathically.
Yes.
I think Amanda was the first person that I communicated telepathically because like I would not say anything. She'd be like, I understand that entire story. I'm like, I said no words though. Like, how did you understand that? And it's funny because I can go on the podcast and talk about things and Jade's common phrase is use more words.
Mm-hmm.
But like in my day-to-day life, if you're someone like, and Amanda is like this, Kaylin, you're like this, Jade, you're like this too, who can like read in between the lines and like dissect and help me like extract stuff, that is like of utmost value to me, because like I tend to live with fewer words because I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it. But like, I feel like people like you guys and like this circle and like Amanda for the past, I'd say 10 years, but clearly it's more than 10 years.
More than 10 years.
Like you guys extract that from me. So and honestly, there's not a lot of people in this world that do that.
Oh my goodness, that makes so much sense, because we were just talking about your human design cross, the cross that you bear on the daily basis to feel compelled to explain things to people. Like you have to do it even when you already know the answer, you're compelled to explain. So your besties are people that you don't have to do that with because they already know.
Thanks for explaining my whole life in like 4 seconds, Jade.
Again, you're invaluable to her, Jade, because she didn't have to say words. She could say less.
So if you want to be my bestie, you got to read in between the lines. Next musical interlude.
Oh God. That's so
I
interesting
didn't
to
realize
me.
that until you just said that. That makes total sense. But yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's a gift. And it's not like something you're trying to do, Amanda. It just happens. You're like empathetically there.
I just feel people have I can kind of sense what something's going on in not just with Cass, just with like my day-to-day life, my job, like at the bank, or just being around people. Like I can sense something's off, even if I don't necessarily know what it is, and just be able to get them to open up to me, to tell me what's going on, even if they don't want to. And that's kind of one of the best things that Cass and I do for each other. Is she's kind of like my rock. When I need someone to point out the hard stuff for me, she'll do that to me, and vice versa. And there's times where we've had similar situations, although not the exact same, but the situation itself can be not the best experience. It's like, remember this time when you told me about this X amount of years ago? Now it's my time to tell you. And kind of like it's like, fuck off. But yeah, that to the point where they're like, my husband will sometimes be like trying to talk to me or getting me out of my head, and he'll at points be like, you just need to talk to Cass, because I'm telling you this. And my husband and Cassandra are very similar in personalities as well. They think the same, they think alike, scary sometimes. And it's like, he's like, you're not getting it from me. You need to hear it from someone else. Call Cass. Like, okay.
And 9 times out of 10, I say the same thing that he does. And she gets it. Amazing. So I have a question for you, because something keeps coming into mind. Do you have a favorite conversation we've ever had before?
I mean, I feel like our conversations about family is sometimes some of my favorites, because our families are very similar in dynamics. There are some of my
You mean
favorites.
extended family, like extended family stuff?
Immediate family.
Okay.
Parents.
Like up as in parents, or down as in your children?
Okay. Parents more similar. Our daughters are similar kind of personality wise. It's fun when they get together to see who's going to take control together. But our family dynamics are similar but different, from like our childhoods of what we went through and what we how we relate to it. I didn't come up with a lot of trauma, but there was a lot of verbal drama and stuff that would come up that I kind of work through. And I would always be that person who tries to empathize and help and take that on. And I took that on as a kid, trying to help my parents, help my mom and stuff like that, where I'm still, as a grown ass adult, just getting to the point where I'm able to push back and be like, nope, this isn't mine. I don't need this. And it's caused rifts where the dynamic that I'm shifting, others don't like. So it just takes me longer than it does with Cass sometimes. And she can fully admit to it, where it's like, I'll be like, this is going on. She's like, I knew this was going to come. I knew you were going to go through this. But she also understands that I need to go through it in my own time, because if you tell me to do something right here and now, I'll be like, fuck off, not going to do it, don't want to do it. You can't make
Correct.
me. I'm happy in my little, putting my head inside the sand. It's happy here. No one's bothering me. We'll ignore everything that's happening around.
Well, Amanda, you were saying, maybe I'll talk on this podcast about how hard it is for me to share my feelings. And I think you're doing a fucking really good job at doing
Correct.
just that.
Correct.
So you
No,
obviously,
We've come a really, 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 really times 100 long way.
2020 was
yeah.
2020 with that was very, very good for me, because if you asked me about some of this before 2020, I was very much a people pleaser. Sometimes going to see my family would cause me stress, and my husband can de-stress me very easily, but I can now go see my family and understand that this is their situation. I don't need to deal with this, and I can come back from a family trip not stressed the fuck out. So it's 2020 for me was a good year where I just started laying down the lines of, you're going to start hearing from me. You're not going to necessarily like what you're hearing from me, but this is my truth that I need to speak. And this is how it's going to be. So it's still new. It's two years.
It was
Well,
a
I
big
remember-
word of boundaries.
Yeah.
Like 2021 was, I like to do, instead of New Year's resolutions, I like to do words.
Mhm.
And 2020, is it 2021, 2022, actually, 2022 was, I had two, was boundaries and no. Kind of going hand in hand. And I mean, 2022 has still been a weird year for me, a lot of changes, but it's definitely staying true to those two words, because I constantly go back to be like, no, this is my
No.
boundary.
Those are good words. And I
Sometimes
remember
we've also had to lovingly remind her about her words too, and her use your no. Good girl, use your no.
It's also good, like, at least for me, telling other people what my words are. Like, people have their New Year's resolutions. They tell people to keep them accountable. I tell people, this is my word. Hold me to it. Make sure that I'm doing it. Call me out on my bullshit when I don't want it. Because for me, that's the best friends that you're going to find. If someone can tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it, obviously in a loving way, sometimes not so lovingly because you need to be smacked over the head with it.
Because they're stubborn.
No.
So I'm curious. So you said that 2020 was the year that everything changed. Why?
Cough, Saturn transit. She was
Yeah.
having a Saturn transit. I did her birth chart.
I
It was the
knew.
Saturn transit. Yes.
For the listeners, Jade, tell us a little bit about what a Saturn transit is.
Fuck that
Well,
planet first.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm in one right now too.
Yes, you are, Kaylin. And Cass, what episode was that where we talked about Saturn transit?
Can you
Oh
move?
goodness.
Sam-
I think
can
it
you
was
move
called
Saturn?
Can You Move Saturn for me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
And
That was episode 6. So we're going back old school.
So episode 6, if you want to refer to a Saturn transit, but Saturn is the old man of the zodiac. He demands your attention. He knocks at the front door of your life when you're in a Saturn transit, and demands that you stand in your purpose and your power. And you can bury your head in the sand, but if you're woke and you're trying to fight for your health and mind, body, soul alignment, then you pay attention like Amanda is. And Saturn.
So Amanda, what shifted for you then in 2020?
My parents were going through some issues of their own, and I was essentially being between the two of them, kind of like their own personal therapist.
Ooh,
And
yeah, very
For-
healthy.
for me, I would take it and kind of, because I'm not that person. If someone tells me something, I'm not going to go run to the next person and tell them. I'm going to internalize it, which is not healthy.
Very healthy.
But for anyone who needs to know that, if you don't know that already, it's not healthy. It's not healthy to have that relationship, but also it's not healthy to internalize it. And I finally got to the point where it's like, I can't. I can't. If you have issues, I can't be involved. I can't deal with it. Like, my own personal well-being, I was going internal into my head. Anytime that I start to get stressed out, I will go into my head and overanalyze. I overanalyze everything daily. There's just certain things that I look like, what shirt should I wear today? I don't overanalyze because I don't have time for that bullshit. But I overanalyze every single thing on a daily basis. And sometimes I'll go in and replay different scenarios and replay a thing of how could I have handled this better? Could I have done something else? Could I have helped in a different way? To the point where my husband will sometimes tell me when I'm in my head, hey, I left my iPad in there. Can you grab that for me when you come out? Just to try to make me laugh. Try to get me to be like, oh, fuck. Yep. I'm working on it. Because a lot of times I don't know that I'm there. I know that I'm in there, but I don't think that others are seeing it. But he knows me so well. Like if Cass would see me, then that she would essentially make she'd probably just tell me to get the fuck out of my head and deal with it.
On brand.
Get out of your mind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Have
there'd
that.
probably be some sort of musical dance interlude.
Definitely.
Yeah, something to just kind of move the energy. And like, so now a lot of it is for me working out and stuff like that. Like yesterday, because I was in my head just working through stuff. And when I've been stressed, as I'm coming down from it, there's lots of energy moving out. So I worked out for like 2 hours, which is insane. But I didn't feel like I worked out for 2 hours because it was helping me move out all that energy, getting it, just moving it and dealing with it.
We call that transmutation on this podcast.
Sure as shit do.
Well, I'm just like, yeah, impressed. I'm so impressed by your ability to articulate all of these nuances. Like I'm like, and here's Amanda with a microphone. Literally, you have a microphone on this podcast to describe what it feels like to have a little mutable T-square where you just get caught in your head and you just go around and around and around and around and around. It's very frustrating and anxiety producing. So exercise can be one of the best ways to get out. I don't have your chart in front of me, but we're gonna meet together pretty soon, aren't we, Amanda?
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's not like next week.
That's a shaman, because it took me years of not ignoring it, but ignoring it is the best way to do it. Like obviously, I've become more woo probably in the last 2 years.
Thanks, Cass.
I slipped it into her water.
It all starts with oils, the gateway drug.
It really does.
Oils are the gateway drug.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Human design can be a
absolutely.
gateway drug too for people.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Oils are a big gateway. I forget when did I say that? Did I say it on a podcast episode? I don't think so.
No, human design was mentioned as the gateway drug by Kaylin on the episode that dropped today.
Have a listen.
Exactly. And by today, she means episode 18 on August 18th. Holy shit, guys. I didn't even realize that.
We
What?
did episode
On
8
1/8?
on the 18th.
Yeah.
Shit.
We're finding that out
Wait,
on this episode's number 22. So we figured that out 4 episodes later, but thanks for hanging with us, guys.
Listen, this is the shit we talk about. The universe. We didn't plan this. It just
No.
happens.
But it's
Mm-mm.
fucking perfection.
It is, especially because
You're held.
it's Cass's number, and there's her bestie, Amanda. Oh,
1-818-181818. Amazing. Well, I'm going to go and change the topic and tell you guys about one of my favorite conversations with Amanda. And it was when I started dating Tom.
Oh God.
sorry, Dom.
So Amanda was with me throughout my many, many dating phases. And I'm just putting myself on blast here. So Amanda got to witness me dating every gender, every color, every height, every ethnicity, every socioeconomic status, and everything in between. And I'll let Amanda continue from this story about our text messaging conversation roast that turned into her wedding maid of honor speech.
Fire pit speech.
Fire pit speech, but that's we don't have to get into the whole maid of honor speech drama of someone stole your thunder, but
Oh, that speech was never going to get read there because it wasn't appropriate.
it wasn't appropriate at all. So take it away. Enjoy.
I don't remember exactly what I said. I remember Cass and Tom, when they first were went on their first date, they were just two completely different people.
Still are.
Just
Still are.
Yep.
opposites attract. He was very CCD, going to the church. Cass was very not. was more reserved.
Cass is
Cass is
very not.
very different. And like a lot of the times that I went to see Cass or we talked about different things, the guys had just different names by basically their jobs or something like that, just so I could kind of remember them. When you start to date a lot of people, you need to differentiate the guys.
You probably remembered the girls pretty easily though, right?
There weren't that many of them.
Girl, that's now a guy.
Oh my God. I hope
But
everyone
like
listens
he's
to this
like
episode.
he likes rocks and this, and I'm just like, huh? And like she didn't really have any intention of extending the date. Like it was, I think they met up at a bar or like for coffee. Like she's like, I don't know, like I'm not really feeling this one. Like it doesn't seem like it's good. I'm like, just go. Like worst case, you get food. Like just go.
Free dinner.
You know, like regular best friend encouragement. At least it's free dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is still advice that I give to people who are single now. Go
Absolutely.
and get dinner before you put out. Don't just put out. Like at least get dinner. Like,
And drinks if needed.
drinks or whatever, but like segue. A lot of people like who are dating now just like go hook up and bypass the whole dinner or drinks and stuff like that. I'm like, seriously, there's free food. Get it first. Then you can put out. I don't give a shit. But like, get the free food. So like she just, I mean, going originally on it, she's like, I don't know. Even after like the first date, like it was still kind of, I'm like, just see it. Like there might be potential. Like she would talk about it. I'm like, but there seems like there's something there because you keep talking about him. Because some of them, like she would go on a date with them and then kind of stop. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be any of them. But like I actually got to meet him on Valentine's.
Wait, how many other people was she dating at the same time as dating Tom?
Unknown. This is too many years ago.
Unknown.
Way to go with best friend code ethics. Unknown. I plead the fifth. It's really funny. I can't quite remember.
That is classic.
How fast I was going for my speeding ticket 20 years ago, but I cannot remember how many people Cass was dating.
Because the speeding ticket was bullshit. Yes.
I mean, some would
was
say
not
my
that
dating
slut.
life was shit too, but you know.
And that was
To be fair, the only one that mattered was Tom. So of course you can't remember the other ones.
Way to
Tom
bring
was
it back, Kaylin.
Love you, Tom. I mean, I got to meet him on like Valentine's Day. We had like a couple's date on Valentine's Day when you guys came up to Rhode Island.
Yes. Which, by the way, we were not sure if we were dating at this phase, but both of our families were up in New England and I was going to visit friends. So we drove up together and it just happened to coincide on Valentine's Day. So we just happened to do a double date on Valentine's Day. And Amanda's like, is this your boyfriend? We're like, I think so. Again, all of my starting points of origin with most people in my life are very fuzzy. I'm not good at starts.
Probably because you've probably lived other lives with them.
That would make sense.
Yes.
And so you're like, I don't really know exactly how it started because it's not the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
So my favorite Tom one is when you gave me lingerie or gave John lingerie at Christmas time for me.
I don't remember that.
This was right around when you guys got engaged, like a couple days before.
Oh wait, were you trying to get pregnant?
Oh, there's a pregnant story.
Wait,
Oh,
hold
Jesus.
on. Tom gave lingerie to
No. So Cass, this might have been.
Okay.
I don't know if this was when you were telling me how I could get pregnant or not get pregnant and have sex. There's two stories in here. So one of my husband's,
Birds and the bees.
mine, and Cass's favorite pastimes is sometimes making Tom uncomfortable, which is really
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for Christmas one year, they were up here. They were up in Massachusetts because you were going up to New Hampshire to see Tom's family. And ultimately, that's the time that I think you got engaged.
I got engaged around Christmas time that year.
I had no idea about it or any of that. Thanks,
Neither did
Tom.
I.
Best friend heads up. Just kidding. So she gave a Christmas present to my husband, and we were at dinner. We were out somewhere at a restaurant, and John opened it up, and it was lingerie, really, really cute lingerie. And he's like sitting there, like putting it on. He's like, I can't wait to wear this. And Tom's just so uncomfortable because John knows it's making him uncomfortable. Cass knows this is making him uncomfortable. She's gifting him lingerie for me. And he's just trying to pretend like he's going to put it on and like flaunt it and like kind of draw attention from other.
And Amanda
tables.
was trying to conceive at this point. So I was trying to give helpful Christmas gifts that could help someone conceive. It's the thought that counts, you guys.
But,
Cass is really good at knowing how to make babies. So if you need advice, Cass is the one to go to.
She can also tell you if you don't want to have babies, where to have. So we were trying to get pregnant. She got engaged. She asked me to be her matron of honor, and I was actually a little hesitant. So I'm in Massachusetts at this time. She's in North Carolina, and we're actively trying to get pregnant. And she's like, I'm like, I would love to, but I'm farther away. And like, if there's things that you need, I might not be there. And secondly, I'm trying to get pregnant. Like,
I was planning a wedding like literally 9 months away, basically from our engagement, as she was like trying to get pregnant. So
it was like, I love you, I support you, but I also understand if this won't work because of all these different things. She's like, no,
non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. You can still be my matron of honor. And I even had a conversation with my gynecologist of, if I were to get pregnant, like how far can I be pregnant and still go to a wedding in North Carolina? So like, instead of going to the like, okay, you probably your last year was here, this is when your baby's going to be due. He used that to be like, you can't go past 30 weeks in case something happens. If you have kids and they decide to come early or anything. Nothing like foreshadowing. Thanks, doctor.
Correct. I was gonna say that's freaky.
But in case they were born early, it's not that I'm worried about you. It's about where the kids are. But he's like, so you can't get pregnant between these months and these months. And so I took, again, this back to Cass. I'm like, hey, still a little hesitant about this. Like, we're trying to get pregnant. Are you sure? Like, again, I don't take it personally. Like, I can be a bridesmaid, or I will be like your biggest supporter. I'll do anything for you. But are you like, and she's like, no, it's fine. I'm going to draw a diagram for you of like, for John, of where you can, he can ejaculate. You can go here, but this is a no. This area is no, this time is this time.
Of course you did that.
Here.
I was like, during these months, you can use here, you can use here, you can use there, but not in there.
This is a no.
I was just helping Amanda with boundaries and protecting my major honor.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like if she could have brought me a chastity belt and put it on me with the key, having her have the key, she would.
I would have. I absolutely would have, just for like
totally
4-week
What?
period.
I don't know the end of the story though. What ended up happening?
So
I
I
was pregnant.
I was pregnant. I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Yep.
No. Yeah, something like that. Because you got married in April, kids were born in June. Yeah, I was about 5 months pregnant at her wedding. She had a mimosa bar, which I would have loved. I planned her bachelorette party while super pregnant.
Yeah, she totally went out with us in Charleston, got so drunk I lost my clothes and shoes, and she was pregnant throughout the whole thing.
We went on a bar crawl during her bachelorette party in Charleston because she was originally going to get married in Charleston. It didn't happen. So we did the bachelorette party down there so she could experience it. We had a blow up man that we had to have a dress on because we got in trouble for some locations. They didn't like the naked penis out. Sorry, Charleston. But like, I made sure that she had fun, had a blast, even though I was super pregnant and just wanted to fucking go to bed. But I ended up leaving the last bar that we were at a little bit earlier because I was like, I was dancing and the twins were not having it. I just wanted to throw up. And I'm like, girls, I'm going to leave. And I walked home and walked to our Airbnb with my husband on the phone, like, I'm here in case I get abducted. I'm here in case I get abducted until I got there. Like, they all came home. Like, they made the Uber guy get them.
Pregnant with twins.
I don't
Pregnant
know.
with twins.
Months. That, and you didn't even know, Cass, because you hadn't been pregnant yet. What a sacrifice that was.
I've been pregnant, so not with twins,
Right.
but I had been pregnant.
Right.
before.
No, with twins.
But so, I mean, her wedding, I was super pregnant for that. Couldn't drink at the mimosa bar. I could only have the juice. So my husband had to drink like it was me. So mimosa bars are a funny little thing. I like the champagne with a splash. Like, I mean, if you could just spritz the juice, that makes a great mimosa for me. So I drank a lot of juice. John had to drink my mimosas like I would drink. So I made sure that I got my husband nice and drunk at that wedding.
Fun.
But
So hold on. I need the finale though to the wedding speech.
so essentially, my wedding speech was a lot. When I was writing the wedding speech, I had to write it. I was like, it's not about me. It's about her. It's not about us. It's about them. Because there were lots of stories and jokes that like went on for me and Cass for lots of times. I wish I still had it. I might have it saved in my Gmail because that's where I probably do it because I'm that person. But it was just talking about the first date and how they met and how she didn't really think that she was going to like him and how they were so different. And what else did I talk about? But I ended up giving this speech at their fire pit in North Carolina, just talking about all like the differences and all the inside jokes and stuff about how Cass really didn't want to go out originally on that date and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this in front of all their family and friends.
She literally read our text. She scrolled back throughout our entire text, which mind you, we text a lot and message a lot. She scrolled back and found the OG conversation.
What?
And then
that's
pieced
like
it
the
together from text message, Facebook Messenger, probably AOL IM. Who knows what else was in there? So thank God it was before
scrolling
Zoom
it, like
and
putting
Slack.
it in. Unlike the eulogy to your dog, like your best man did.
That's a story for a different day, I think. So, well, this has been fun.
I can't. Was Tom uncomfortable? I just need to know. By the
I mean,
speech.
that was a whole interesting day and night prior to that too. So I think anything that would have happened, Tom had his bachelor party the night before their wedding because of the best man.
Sure.
And
The only
This
thing
does seem like a story for another day.
the only thing I asked to not do.
I was yelling at the best man as we were walking down the aisle, smiling, yelling at him, and hoping that my heel wouldn't get stuck in the grass.
Well, 5 months pregnant with twins.
Wow.
I've got a beautiful mental picture right now.
I look fabulous though.
You really did.
Thanks, makeup.
So I'm thinking the name for this is running with the laws and hating people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I love it.
Well, do you guys have any final questions for my bestie?
What's something that we don't know about Cass that you feel like we should know?
Ooh.
Hey, you wanted to go first.
Here's the thing with Cash. She's an open book. Like, I don't think there's really anything that someone doesn't know about her or it will not come up. She's the first to roast herself. She's the first to throw herself like out there and make someone feel comfortable by showing her flaws and vulnerabilities. That I don't think that there's something that people don't really know about Cass, except the fact that she'll make people choose to go wedding dress shopping or do hot yoga. But that's again, a story for another day. But she's, yeah, I mean, anything that anyone knows about Cass, I think you learn about Cass in the first like 5 minutes of meeting her, of how open she is and willing to help other people. And as long as you're true to her with just being open and honest, even if she doesn't necessarily agree with you, she'll support you 100%. It doesn't matter what it is, who you are. She's just there for you.
Aw.
Well, that was a true best friend
Correct.
answer.
This chick understands that loose lips sink ships, and she knows. Keep those things.
I mean, if there's anything you don't know about me, it'll probably be on a podcast episode. Like, let's be really honest.
She has no shame. Like, she really doesn't.
Truth. Yeah, that's true.
You don't when you grow up in a situation that she grew up in. There's no time for shame.
No, shame is a not needed emotion. So,
Amen.
well, this has been fun. This has been our first Guests After Dark episode. If you like this, check us out the first and third Thursday every month. We'll be releasing Guests After Dark. And if you'd like to be our guest after dark, go to the website, apply, and let's have a conversation. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.